Once upon a time, high above a quiet mountain village, there lived a dragon whose roar could shake the sky, but whose heart beat for something no one would ever expect. This dragon did not dream of treasure or power. He dreamed of music. And the day the village discovered his secret, everything changed in a way no one saw coming. Stay with this story, because what begins with fear will end with something far more powerful than fire. If you love magical stories filled with heart, honesty, courage, and surprising twists, make sure you subscribe now and stay until the end. This dragonous journey might remind you that your greatest strength could be the very thing others don't understand yet. The dragon's name was Kieran. He lived in a cave carved into the side of Silver Peak Mountain. From the village below, people often saw smoke rising from the cliffs and believed he was a dangerous beast waiting to attack. Parents warned their children not to wander too far. Farmers whispered that if the dragon ever came down, their homes would burn. But none of them knew the truth. Every night, when the moon rose high, Kieran listened. He listened to the wind moving through the trees, to the river flowing over stones, to the faint sound of a violin drifting up from the village square. That violin belonged to a young musician named Elara. She played with such honesty that even the stars seemed to shine brighter. Kieran would close his massive eyes and hum softly, trying to match her melody. His deep voice echoed through the mountain, not as a roar, but as a low, warm note. One evening, while trying to sing along, Kieran accidentally let out a burst of flame that lit up the sky. The villagers panicked. "The dragon is angry!" they cried. Fear spread quickly. A proud blacksmith named Torin stepped forward and said, "We cannot live in fear. I will drive the dragon away." Torin had always wanted to be seen as a hero. In truth, he was jealous of how much people admired Elara's music. If he defeated the dragon, everyone would praise him instead. The next morning, Torin climbed the mountain with a spear in his hand. Kieran saw him approaching and felt confused. He had never hurt anyone. When Torin reached the cave, he shouted, "Monster, leave this mountain or face me." Kieran tried to speak, but his voice came out as a rumble that shook loose stones from the cliff. Torin took that as a threat and threw his spear. It grazed Kieran's wing. For the first time in his life, Kieran felt pain not just in his body, but in his heart. He retreated deeper into the cave, wounded and misunderstood. That night, the music from the village stopped. Elara had heard about the attack and felt uneasy. What if the dragon isn't what we think? She wondered. Curious and brave, Elara decided to climb the mountain alone. She carried only her violin. When she reached the cave entrance, she saw the dragon curled inside, his wing bleeding slightly, his eyes filled with sadness rather than anger. Instead of running, she slowly lifted her violin and began to play. The melody was soft at first, trembling like her hands. Kieran listened. Slowly, he hummed along, carefully, trying not to frighten her. The cave filled with harmony. Elara realized something incredible. "You love music," she whispered. Kieran nodded gently. For the next few nights, Elara returned. She cleaned his wound and played songs for him. Kieran learned to control his fire, using it to warm the cave gently instead of burning wildly. Together, they created music that echoed across the mountains in a way that sounded magical rather than terrifying. But Torin watched from below, anger growing inside him. He saw Elara climbing the mountain and felt betrayed. "The dragon has tricked her," he told the villagers. "He is pretending to be gentle." Wanting revenge for the embarrassment of his failed attack, Torin secretly set a trap near the cave using oil and dry wood. His plan was simple. When the dragon emerged, the fire would spread, and the villagers would finally see him as a threat. That evening, Elara was inside the cave, playing a bright melody when she smelled smoke. Flames were rising outside, spreading quickly toward the forest. Kieran saw the fire and realized what had happened. If the flames reached the trees, the entire mountain would burn, and the village below would be destroyed. Without thinking of himself, Kieran stepped out of the cave and spread his massive wings. Instead of breathing more fire, he inhaled deeply and released a powerful gust of wind upward, pushing the flames away from the forest. Then he carefully used controlled bursts of fire to burn a safe circle around the spreading flames, stopping them from moving further. It was dangerous and exhausting. The villagers watched from below in shock. They expected destruction. Instead, they saw protection. Elara ran down the mountain and shouted, "He is saving us!" Torin tried to deny it, but the truth was clear. The dragon was risking everything to protect the village. When the fire was finally out, Kieran collapsed from exhaustion. The villagers climbed the mountain together. Torin stood silent, shame written on his face. Elara knelt beside Kieran and said, "You don't have to hide anymore." Torin stepped forward slowly. I wanted to be a hero, he admitted. I thought if I defeated you, they would admire me. I was wrong. Kieran looked at him, not with anger, but with understanding. In a low, steady voice, he finally spoke clearly enough for everyone to hear. Music taught me something. Harmony is stronger than pride. The villagers were stunned. The dragon could speak, and his words carried more wisdom than fear. Instead of punishing Torin harshly, Kieran simply said, "If you want to be a hero, help rebuild the forest you nearly burned." Torin nodded, humbled. In the weeks that followed, something beautiful happened. Kieran no longer hid in the cave. He worked with the villagers, using his strength to move heavy stones and his careful fire to shape metal alongside Torin. At night, he joined Ilara in the village square. The first time he sang openly, people were afraid, but when his deep, steady voice blended with her violin, the entire square fell silent in awe. The dragon who once caused fear became a symbol of courage and honesty. He proved that being different is not a weakness. It can be your greatest gift. And Torin learned that true respect is earned through helping others, not through jealousy or revenge. Years later, travelers would speak of a mountain where a dragon and a musician created music so powerful it could calm storms. They said the real miracle was not the dragon's fire, but his choice to protect instead of destroy. So now I want to ask you something. Have you ever hidden a talent because you were afraid people wouldn't understand it? What would happen if you let it shine? Tell me in the comments. And if this story touched your heart even a little, share it with someone who needs the courage to be themselves. Because sometimes the very thing that makes you different is the magic the world has been waiting for.